Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with the DeFi Kingdoms team. Lovely as always to be here, and wonderful to see you all. First and foremost, let's find out, Winston, how are you doing today? And what are we seeing here? It looks like Hope already has an advantage over TuneFed with a hero down. Tell us what.
Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, thank you for asking, of course. And just kind of been chilling out this week. Haven't had any trips, haven't gone anywhere, nothing too exciting. Yeah, this is the end of our what time is it? It's 1 p.m. Eastern time off season that
Yeah.
happens, and
Oh,
this is just the final of that. So I'm gonna pop open the looks like it's already getting going here, but you've got 8 minutes to vote on the other one, the AMA tournament that we've got going. This is going to be, I've been doing this burn and earn thing where you throw, where did it go? Here we go. You have to burn tiers and gold. And in this case, this is kind of they're usually not this much. Like they're usually like 10K and 100K. But there's a deep mall in the mix here. So, and each of these rewards should be, this one I think is exactly, when I first put it up, it was more, but tiers have gone up in price since we started burning and earning using them. So yeah, get in here and vote on these. Oh, I gotta sponsor them a little bit better too. So I'm gonna go sponsor them better too. So yeah, go vote on them. I think that's pretty much all that I got. Bolon. How are you? Are you doing well?
I'm doing pretty well. I finally got over whatever sickness had me down for like a week and a half. So it's been nice being able to, breathe properly again and everything. It's been quite enjoyable. Turns out
Good.
breathing really important to life. I maintain that it's overrated, but still pretty important.
Maybe not the most important thing, but it's on a list of 100 important things. It's probably going to be there. Okay, well, I'm going to fire it back over to you then, and we'll just keep an eye on this and just watch as people vote and they fight each other. So, yep, thanks.
Most definitely, and always appreciate you putting these together and coordinating and getting people involved. It's always fun. So appreciate you taking that on so that we can watch people fight for our enjoyment like good Romans.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to do it. I figure real quick, I almost forgot. We got our fighters here. This is Broken Heart in Discord. We got Okul in Discord, DFT, no guile there. It's just DFT. And then Rising Sun. He's been around for a while, but he's been doing combat on and off periodically here and there. So seems like he's after this deep maul. So I hope it works out for him and he gets it. So yeah, thanks for that last moment there.
Nice. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Hubert, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Bolin. I'm doing all right. I also just kind of had a sickness over the past 10 days that I'm pretty much recovered from now. It's kind of a weird one where didn't include a cough or anything, but did get some congestion. But it started out with me feeling like my house smelled like it had like burning kerosene in it, but only I could smell it, and it stayed that way for multiple days, and it was really driving me crazy. And I thought something was wrong, but then I just started getting sick after that. So I guess maybe like the mildest case of COVID ever. I don't know.
I
Uh,
think you had a stroke, dude.
or I had a stroke. I
I
don't know.
think
It was.
did you go blind at all? Let me ask you this. Were you drinking kerosene?
I wasn't, but it did start like right after I went to the public pool. So I did sniff a whole bunch of
Oh.
chlorine, I guess. So
Oh man, getting
We've
sick after
identified the
going to the
cause.
public pool. Yeah, totally. This is all lining up actually.
yeah, it was weird. I was freaking out for a while there. I really thought something was wrong with the house, and I was considering doing all sorts of things that would have cost a lot of money. But now everything seems normal again, so I'm not going to do any of that. But yeah, and we also had a little bit of precipitation here, which always makes me happy. But still, I think we're like record levels of not having precipitation here, and also it was like a record warm winter as well for us. So I think the summer is going to be real exciting in a lot of bad ways, but I'm doing all right.
Interestingly, Florida actually went into drought conditions as well, and literally the day after, like this whole thing, Florida's in drought conditions, like conserve water where you can, yada yada yada. It poured for hours. Like it was just like a freaking so much rain. I was like, well, no more drought conditions in Florida. We're covered.
Man, when they're calling for drought conditions in Florida, there's some goofy shit going on.
Yeah, I know. All they gotta
Isn't it
do
like
is
the humidity?
get
Isn't
out
it
of the
like
water.
80% humidity or some shit all the time?
Right. Yeah. No. If they would just strain it out of the air, we would have all of the water that we would ever need.
It's
But
like almost every direction you look, there's water.
breathing in Florida is essentially just being waterboarded at all times. It's how we live our lives. It's why we are the way that we are. It really, really, like, Florida man makes sense if you've been here. Real quick before we go to Dreamer, there's a question from chat about Taco Bell updates. I actually do have one, so I'll share it. They've brought empanadas, dessert empanadas. They have a chocolate empanada and a caramel empanada at locations nationwide. I have not tried them yet, so I'm pretty excited to do that. I did try everything on their new value menu. The taco salad bowl, really good. The Supreme nacho cheese dip, also really good. Highly recommend the dip. I think the dip might be my favorite item on there. But yeah, so those are the Taco Bell updates. Dreamer, how are you doing, sir? How's everything?
You could wash all that down with one of those Mountain Dew hards that you love so much.
Oh God, hard
yuck,
pass.
dude.
Yeah,
they don't even make everything alcoholic.
When they go off, you guys are cracking open Mountain Dew hards all day long.
Gross,
and just,
dude.
So bad. I wanted them to be good, and they just weren't.
It's like you don't need to put alcohol in everything. It's like if you want to have a beer, have a beer. If you want to have a do.
Well, and also you don't need to make any Mountain Dew product sugar free. Bad choice.
Yeah, that seems like I don't know. That seems like a waste of time.
It does. And I think that's part of why those are so bad is that they are sugar free. And like, also, why am I drinking like hard seltzers, I guess, and like watching my figure? Like, no, hard pass. Give me sugar.
Maybe you should watch your figure, Bolon.
I probably should. I'm watching it grow. Does that count?
Well, how am I doing? I'm doing okay. I'm feeling better too. Got some tea. And over here, drinking tea. Gotta love me some tea in the morning. And yeah, I'm happy to be answering some questions with our lovely community. That's all I got.
Very nice, very nice. Well, don't go too far because we can actually go ahead and hand it right back to you. We talked last week about some project-wide kind of updates and outlooks, and I'm going to pass it back to you to give any further updates, any news, developments, etc.
Further updates and outlooks. So following up last week, there was one item with some development that people may have noticed. We were eagerly waiting for the final stage of Retro 9000, which is designed to, as I understand it, reward subnets and L1s that are contributing to the ecosystem in various ways. And I think all things are considered here. We saw it come out and we weren't included. And even like our main contacts of Avalanche were a little surprised. But there's a bit more context here. We saw people respond to it. We ourselves reacted to it kind of in a surprised, not positive way. But there's some other things at play. So one focus we've made very clear is our goal to reduce costs and find a way to have the long-term presence of DFK be a bit more sustainable and predictable. And in this market cycle, it's most like prudent to look at consolidating, reducing costs rather than like expanding to other chains and things, for example. Well, Avalanche Foundation has been supporting DFK Chain as well in the past, and there's a number there for them that they're looking at. So when it came to retro, the number that we were potentially qualified for, you see my cat in the blur attacking things, was much less than their like annual spend that they're already doing already. So they're having, you know, tough decision times as well. And that was their ultimate reason why we didn't get retro money, is because what they're already spending to support DFK Chain. However, it didn't just stop there. With that announcement came an increased focus to more quickly work with us on the things that we're trying to accomplish. One of which is a consideration of a C chain presence of DFK chain, or sorry, of DFK features, and how that relates to costs on DFK chain and the broad presence on multiple chains. So this has already been a discussion, and I think we've shared that we've been talking to some folks on different things that we can do, including our strongest partners. But after that, from our perspective, unfortunate message and news, we've had a lot of discussion with them directly. We don't have any final conclusions, but I can report a lot of brainstorming on what would reduce costs, what would be good for us, what would be good for the foundation, what would be good for the Avalanche community, and what would be good for the DFK players. I'm optimistic that we'll figure something out that might be good, but I have no idea what that'll be. I have no idea when it'll be, but at the rate that we've been progressing the last, 5 days or so, I'm eager to be able to report on something in the coming weeks, if there's going to be anything at all with Avalanche Foundation specifically. But not good news last week to see that, but it did have a silver lining to have much more increased focus on, let's figure out if there's a way to collaborate better than we have been over the last 4 years. Let's get to that much sooner, since we were unfortunately left out of Retro 9000. So feels bad in the short term. Feels really good to have so much collaboration and interest to see what we can do following that message. Bolon, before I kind of move on, did I miss anything on that update that you wanted to fill in the gaps for?
No, I think that filled it out nicely.
Okay, so then what that means for next steps. So again, last week talked about that the retro money coming in and impacting our runway as we're working on various decisions. Since that didn't come in, while we're having discussions, we need to make responsible decisions on costs, and we're trying to be creative with what that is in the short term, with really disrupting gameplay and players as little as possible. So I think we have some things we want to announce today. I'm going to hand it over to Bolon, and maybe Hubert can fill in there, and maybe more to come next week. But I'm really hopeful that by next week can talk more about what's happening behind the scenes, but it may be a week or two. But for now, Bolon, what are we doing as it relates to cutting costs, as we are in this like kind of limbo discussing what's next and what collaborations are there and what incentives there might be for players?
Yep, for sure. So as Dreamer said, I am going to kick this off, but Hubert may fill in some gaps as well for me here. But one of the things that we've talked about, especially in recent history, in terms of like what our costs are, is DFK Chain itself. We process a lot on DFK Chain, a lot of transactions, a lot of gas, and every transaction essentially makes that chain bigger, right? So it just keeps increasing that storage cost. And then in order to sustain that, we also have many validators, more than I think any other L1 subnet L1 still. So we were looking at ways to bring that cost down in the short term without being more disruptive than we have to be. So we are going to be making a couple of changes to the chain and one change to the game itself. So on the game side, I'm going to go the other way. On the chain side first, we are going to increase our block time from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. The main impact that this will have on players is I mean, first off, I guess just on general transactions, it will take 1 second longer. And then on any transaction that involves our randomness that we use future blocks for, it will take a few seconds longer because we have to process each of those blocks. So it'll slow down transactions a little bit, but we're going from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. So it shouldn't be a huge change from a player perspective, but it does make a very big change on how fast the chain continues to grow in terms of storage. The other change to the chain that we're going to make is we're going to up gas from 3 gwei to 10 gwei. So we're going to increase gas a little bit. It's still realistically going to be very cheap, let's be honest. But yes, it will be a little over 3 times as expensive as it is now. However, this will help reduce any kind of spam transactions, which there's not a complete ton of, but there are some ARB bots and whatnot running. So it'll make them, think a little bit more before they process a bunch of transactions, but it will also increase the income going to the chain to help cover those costs to run the chain. So those will be the 2 changes that we are going to make to the chain. We will be making those changes tomorrow, Friday, around 8 p.m. Eastern, give or take. So roughly 30 hours from now, a little bit less than that, is when you'll see that go into effect for the block time to slow down a little bit and the gas to go up. The one other thing I do want to mention on that front is we may see some places. So like right now, if you go to summon a hero, you create the crystal and then there's a countdown until you can open the crystal. We may see a little bit of a gap there where it says that it's ready and then you get an error that says that it hasn't been long enough for a second or two. We have a padding already built into that, so it may not be there, but it might. We'll adjust as we go. But we just wanted to, I wanted to at least give you guys a heads up that you may see that for a minute. And then as far as the game goes, so also tomorrow around 8 p.m. Eastern, that same time, we are going to pause questing, profession and training quests, including expeditions. We're going to pause starting them. We're going to pause starting quests, including both profession and training and expeditions, tomorrow at around 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next Wednesday, around our normal release time, which is usually like 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to pause completing quests and expeditions. So I would encourage all of you, I am going to announce this in Discord also, I would encourage all of you to complete your quests prior to that. Otherwise, your heroes will be stuck in a questing state for the time being. But we are going to pause questing. Realistically, questing is one of the largest burdens on the chain itself. And so pausing questing will also allow us to, for right now, spin down some of those validators that we're currently running, which will obviously significantly reduce costs for each one that we are able to turn off for the time being. So all combat will be remaining in place for the time being. Patrols and PvP on Metis, hunts on Crystal Vale, no changes there. The only game impacting change is the questing side. Hubert, did I get it all right?
Yeah, I think so. I guess one thing I'd mention is that it is still possible to cancel quests as well. So once the completing is turned off, you can still cancel any remaining quests that are still active, as well as any remaining expeditions that are still active. Though, if you want to get those rewards, I'd recommend that you complete them before then, because when you cancel, you don't get anything. It just kind of pulls your heroes out and undoes everything that was done. So yep, I think that covered everything.
Awesome. And yeah, thank you for that. That's a very good reminder that you can cancel. I forgot about that, to be honest, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Let's see, I've been trying to scroll chat to make sure I didn't miss any live questions, but I do see one. For how long will questing be paused? Honestly, at the moment, don't know yet. It depends on what our next steps end up being. So we are pausing it while we figure out what those steps are in order to reduce costs and maximize runway. And then depending on what those next steps are, that will really inform what we do next. So I know that's not really an answer to your question, and I apologize, but it's the best answer I can give you at this exact moment of it's kind of they are paused indefinitely until we have a plan for our next steps. Is I think the most fair way to say that.
Yeah, I think, and just like to put yourself in our shoes a bit. What we see in this space happen is a lot of like irresponsible decisions during bear markets that result in like no other option but randomly and unexpectedly killing whatever protocol without notice. That's always been something I think that we've tried to do really well. Whenever people ask about runway, it's like, well, it's easy to say what a runway is if nobody's willing to adjust, but we are constantly adjusting. And this is now, if we think about the waterfall of like turning things off with the money that we have and the money that's coming in currently from the game, this is kind of the first step that is least impactful, but still saves some money. As you go down, what's at the very like top of that waterfall or bottom, depending on how you look at it, is like the chain itself running so that we can do something on it. First thing is like questing, for example. So, hey, when's it coming back? Well, it depends on when that equation gets better. There might be an unexpected inflow of capital, like we thought retro would be coming in, that would have prevented something like this. Maybe there's a move that happens where savings emerge as a result, and maybe it would come on at, after we figure that out. Or maybe we need to have a much deeper, longer discussion. So just being transparent, we don't know when it'll come back, but we are operating to make sure we're making the best decisions, so that there is more of a waterfall approach that extends the most important items that must be kept on, and suspends the things that can more easily be turned on and off, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. For sure. All right. So I haven't seen any other questions about all of this in chat. If there are any, feel free to drop them in. We are happy to take them. Before I move on, not to put you on the spot, but Hubert, is there anything that you wanted to add, anything that we missed, or are you feeling good?
Yeah, no, I think that covered everything. Nothing else comes to mind.
Perfect. I just wanted to give you final opportunity there. Final right of refusal. Winston, I saw you cut your camera on. What's happening?
Real quick, we've got Dragonfly Tales versus Okul coming up, 150 Joule. I mean, my shit's just probably not updating quickly enough, but it doesn't look like anyone has voted on it yet. So get in there and vote. A lot of Joule laying around. I did see one question from the Discord chat. How will heroes be leveled? Hunting, I guess, patrols, running them around, yelling at them. It's like a drill sergeant kind of a thing, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that, but yeah, I think it's probably going to be hunts and patrols for the time being.
Yeah. I would say that's fair. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Hubert.
Yeah, I mean, there is a path to get XP for all heroes, but as far as like power leveling with stamina potions, at the moment that's gonna go away very rapidly. So if there's any last minute things you want to do, today's your day, and then tomorrow until the time limit. But after that point, we may look into doing some adjustments to the XP gain available from combat, just to kind of offset that difference. Yeah, that's what we're going to have at the moment, unfortunately.
Nice. Good question, though, and a fair question. Let's see. There was a can we get patrols on DFK Chain? Not at this exact moment, but we are, we're figuring out what things are going to look like. So, like, can we just go drop patrols, right now or tonight? No. But we are figuring out what things will look like. And then all right, so let's go into some of the questions. And like I said, if y'all have questions, drop them in chat. Happy to circle back. Obviously, this is a lot of information. I think I mentioned, but I will be, dropping this in Discord as well. But we're happy to try to answer any questions that we can in the meantime. That said, we are breaking with tradition today and not starting with Hubert, which makes me sad. But a couple of questions that were pre-submitted related to the concept of consolidation. The first one I'm going to toss Dreamer's way. How would any consolidation impact Jewel? Are the current tokenomics at risk of being changed, such as supply cap?
Well, a little too early to say. I would say that over the last year and a half, we've had a couple other options that we considered with some chain partners, and they didn't get super far, but we had a number of brainstorm sessions. One of them very specifically. I think at that point it was more of a, what could we do with Jade and Serendale if that were to move to a different chain? And we thought a lot about historical ways to reward through a token and use a token, and how we might adjust that. And everything was really around how do we make it much more inflationary? How do we consider things that are like less time-based? Deflationary. How do we make it less inflationary, more deflationary, burn more than you're using, blah, blah. And maybe less time-based and more like volume-based on gameplay. However, those are past discussions. Currently in this moment, we have only said we are open to consolidating. Currently, tokenomics doesn't support consolidation in its current form. So depending at, to the extent at which we consider consolidation, if every single thing really does end up on one chain long term, and we got kind of 3 power tokens and they're in different levels, and there definitely needs to be an adjustment there. The main thing I think this question is asking is on supply. We can look at supply different ways. All I can say is it's way too early to tell, but we are not intending to just say ignore tokens and start a new one. And the other ones are just there, and now we have a 4th token in a 4th realm. None of our discussions has that been an inclusion. So very early to tell. Thinking about the past, what could be good for players, what could be more stable in various markets, and but we don't even know if we'll get to that point. So all that's been decided so far is if we are faced with an attractive consolidation option, we need to look at our tokenomics, which currently supports multiple realms rather than less than current realms. So that's all we can say.
Nice. Thank you, Dreamer. Greatly appreciated. I had to catch that slip before chat got on to you. I knew it was coming,
Thank you.
Let's see. This next one, actually, I can take. If consolidation ends up being a route that we take with the Metis exclusivity still in place, do we anticipate a Season 2 PvP on Metis? Again, too early to tell, in fairness. Is it off the table? No, it really would just depend on what everything looks like, how things shake out, what we are actually like working on and doing. So I don't want to just say yes or no, because honestly, we don't know the answer to this just yet either, because we just don't know what this process will end up looking like for us this time. So it is possible. In the meantime, we are trying to keep the off seasons going. Winston's been running a bunch of tournaments as well and having a lot of fun with that. So we want to make sure that we keep people engaged as much as we can and keep some of the fun going. But as far as like a full blown another season, I would say it is too early to tell at this moment.
There's a comment that just says, and it's probably based on my comments, Jade has a pulse and breath. I just want to say, when we're talking about consolidation and what could be consolidated in tokenomics, there's Jade, there's Crystal, there's Jewel. What do we do with these 3 things when they're all mostly on one place? Do we leave them as is, or do we need to adjust? We probably need to adjust in some way, and if there is an adjustment, Jade's definitely included in that. So again, too early to say any specific direction, but when we're talking about tokenomics may be adjusted on whatever comes next, that does include the power tokens plus Jewel. So hopefully that's at least clear enough on what we're considering.
No, I think that's a really good clarification that we aren't just leaving it out. At long last, it is time for a Hubert question. This has been way too long, and I'm sad about it. You guys got to submit more Hubert questions. But Hubert, this is a two-part question. So part one, for the existing visages that we have and for future ones as well, any thoughts on a booster pack style to entice interest with different colors and rarities, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea and something that could be done. It within our like existing contracts right now, there really isn't a place for randomness with the Visage contracts. So, or like the Visage purchasing contracts, I should say. So if we were to go down that route, we would either have to instead be like selling treasure chests or upgrade the contracts to like, have a mode for randomness. So it wouldn't be something that we could just, great idea, done tomorrow kind of thing. But I do think something like that is doable. We did build the system with the ability to dye things in mind. So that may be the other path that ends up being taken at some point is that we have some way for people to like change the dyes on existing visages and equipment, or we could just do new color versions or something like that as well. It's like we've done with some seasonal items in the past. So yeah, doable. It also does require some work on like our hero generator and whatnot. Like changing the color scheme on things is not just an immediate click one button and it's done kind of thing either. So like it does require a bit of effort, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
Which I will add also, just as a consideration, if we were to look into going this route and like selling them in that style, there are some it's an interesting legal gray area around loot box kind of style. And so that's one thing that we do have to be careful of and just make sure that we don't stray into with like a booster pack style. Obviously, like you can go to a store and buy booster packs of card games. So there's ways that it can be done. There's ways that it can't be done. So that's just something that we would have to keep in mind if we were going down that route.
Yeah, that was always one of the points we were considering when we even did this in the first place. Like selling NFTs for a direct price was something that we were concerned about. But there's when it's a known quantity, you know exactly what you're getting, and there's nothing like future impacts related. I think we felt we were legally in the clear. But yeah, with that being, potentially different value ones and whatnot, then yeah, like you said, kind of gets into that loot box territory that we are a bit nervous about.
Which actually, in some ways, works for the second part of this question as a segue. Any thoughts on having them as regular equipment so that the players can dust it and pay to turn them into visages?
Yeah, so I think that was, it being equipment and there being, actual use in combat and things like that, then it gets a lot more muddy at that point. Up until now, we've never done equipment that is like sold directly like for profit from us, that is equipment. Like everything that you can buy like from the gold vendor, like that is just completely burned. So it's just kind of an economic action within the game economy. So I think we would, I don't really see us going down a route where we're selling equipment in that way. But if the legal situation changes such that we feel that we could, maybe that's an option. But generally, I prefer to keep actual equipment, like something that you have to get through in-game actions rather than just buying it off of a money shop type of thing.
Yep. Which I would say, though I am not a lawyer, very, very clearly. But even like if it can't be used in combat and it can only be dusted, I think it still kind of falls into that same category because it now has an actual in-game utility beyond just simple cosmetics. So it's a very interesting situation. And you know, a lot of the like rulings and everything in the past have been based on, you know, giant AAA studios doing potentially shady things, but that doesn't mean that we can't get held to them. So something that we always have to keep in mind. Actually, bouncing back over to you, Dreamer. Have we talked to Alex Becker? Seems like somebody that could be a good connection for us.
Kind of a random question.
A little bit.
Let me get my camera on. So I actually had to go look in my DMs because I remember talking to him at a different time. It was back in 2023. Conversation went something like, "Hey, I'm Dreamer. I got something really cool to talk to you about. I think you'll really like it. Look at all the things we did." And then the response, "Sure, shoot." 2 words. Love to set up some time. Here's my Calendly. I'm going to show you blah, 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 blah. I don't do calls. Thanks. And that was it. So I dropped a bunch of stuff after, didn't get a response, but it's been 3 years. We could try again. And the game is actually very different than it was back then. It's more gamified trading experience and innovative, NFT exploration experiment that has turned into an incredible game itself that's fueled probably more by blockchain than any other protocol out there. So you asked the question, so I will go bug him again and come back and see if he responds differently than 3 years ago. But if the question was, have we ever tried to talk to him? Yeah. Have we recently? No. Do I personally think that he might have interest? I don't know. Based on his content and everything, I could go either way. So you asked it, and we shall report back.
Nice. Thank you, Dreamer. Hubert, back over to you. Is it possible to develop a trading function where users can set up and post desired tradable heroes? People can like offer heroes for trade to those people. Basically, like a fully flexible offering market.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. It also sounds like it'd be quite a bit of work to make that all work, especially depending on how flexible you want it to be. Heroes have a lot of different parameters that could be there, and if you're like looking for very specific things and you can specify every single one, that does create a lot of options that you need to be able to select from a menu, and a lot of things that the contracts would need to verify to ensure that it's not a bum deal or something like that. So yeah, I mean, definitely doable. Probably a lot more work than we're able to put into something like that at this time, but I don't see any reason why a contract that does that couldn't be made, and a front end that supports the contract could not be made.
Nice. And one just quick thought on that as well is, we've seen some like community developed marketplaces in the past, which is really cool. And like, it's a great way to solve things like this. But one of the challenges, and this becomes a challenge even if it's in the game, but we have multiple options like the existing tavern as well, it gets tricky when you start splitting users because you need buyers and sellers for a marketplace to function. And so if you have multiple marketplaces that operate independently and differently, which this would kind of have to, it gets tricky. Otherwise, you look to do some kind of huge combined view. But to Hubert's point of filters and categories and sorting and everything, that just gets more and more and more complicated. So there's a lot of considerations of that side too. Winston, before we go to the next question, what are we looking at here?
Oh, this is, excuse me, I was not prepared to speak. This is the off-season tournament that begins in 19 minutes. You got a little under 10 minutes to join if you'd like to. These are the fun ones that pay more than you spend, and you get these cool chests, the banded chests that can sometimes contain gilded chests and have some super cool stuff. Also, submersion chests, so you can get coral armor from these. Terry, chill out, dude. So you can get coral armor from these. So that looks like 2-3 people have joined since I put it up there. Still lots of time. Also, these count towards Terry. Stop, dude. It's just over there like at the door. These also count towards our weekly win program. So if you can win 3 of these or 3 of any level 10 things, I'm going to send you some stuff. So can you hear him?
That time I could. That was the first time that I heard him, but I heard him clear that time.
Yeah. If I don't stop him,
into your house.
I don't know why he growls at the door. It's bizarre. It makes no sense. But yeah, 2 more spots for this one. Don't miss it. If you have stuff going on, cancel it and come do this. Exclude class archer. So bring your pirates and your berserkers and your not archers. So yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Have you considered if your house is haunted?
Not seriously.
Okay.
I feel like it's like if you start thinking, oh, I think my house is haunted, you'll start filling in the blanks on that. Like you'll start hearing things thump, and you'll be like, I forgot to turn this off. You'll be like, oh, did I leave that cabinet open, or did I start the dishwasher? Who started the? I want to see if I see some shit. If I get slimed, or if I like see a full, what does he say? It's a full torsoed apparition or something like that. If I see that, then I'll be like, maybe there's some haunting going on. And Terry would probably just like a ghost, dude. He likes people so much. It's ridiculous.
Your guard dog becomes the ghost's best friend.
Exactly.
That would be a good movie. All right, let's see. This next question, actually, I'm going to talk about. Please explain the holiday issue and if users should be concerned. Do we recommend moving assets out of holiday wallets? So the holiday issue that prevented sign-on a couple of days ago or yesterday, it was actually an issue with Web3 Auth. Web3 Auth made a change that broke something in holiday system, so they had to get that fixed. Which is done. Holiday wallets are working, so you are good to go there. As far as if you should move assets out of a holiday wallet or not, ultimately is up to you. The holiday wallets are meant for simplicity. You don't have to manage a wallet. You don't have to use the wallet's browsers or apps. That is for your mobile. Like it's meant as a convenience, but you do, yes, give up a level of control where you are reliant on the holiday service. We have no indication that that's going to be, an ongoing issue or anything like that. Something changed, it broke, it got fixed. So we have no reason to think that you have any like security concerns or anything like that. As far as like unlocking jewel and pledged heroes, there wouldn't be a way for us to do that like for holiday wallets specifically. So we would have to like make that universal, which, to our earlier point, depending on what comes to be of the future plans, that may be something that ends up being done on a universal level if we are, moving things. So we'll see what happens and what shakes out. There's not a way for us to release locked things from holiday wallets specifically. So that would be a bit of a blocker if you are considering moving out of a holiday wallet. But we also don't have any reason to believe that there is a major ongoing issue or concern or anything like that. All right, let's see. We got a couple more questions, and they are all Hubert questions. Well done to the askers for asking the right people. Hubert, I hope you're ready to finish this out. Any thoughts on new PvE?
I mean, in general, I always want there to be new PvE. It does take a lot of effort to get from start to finish on those, and we do still have some stuff that was pending that was mostly complete in some forms. There's still the integration part was not related to patrols, but that has not been our focus lately, and will continue not to be until we kind of get things figured out in the short term. So I'd say it'll be a while still before there will be new PvE, but assuming everything is golden in the future and we're able to progress, the game, like new PvE is most certainly on the menu, and something I'd like for us to be able to get back into. But with that said, I think Ragnarok would likely come first before any new PvE.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty fair take. Awesome. In a different vein, any thoughts on putting together a preseason for PvP where monetary rewards don't change, but there is one tournament a day with a chest with equipment, either new or old?
Yeah, I mean, if the tournament had, I think up for this preseason time, or the mid-season, not mid-season, the
Off season.
off season. There you go. Thank you.
I got you.
We have, we've had the tournaments have been fairly cheap, and you end up getting more out of it than you put in. I think for something where there would be new equipment that was useful, I think we would want to go back to prices that were more like what we had during the season 1, where you do have to pay more than you get out unless you are like a winner or close to a winner. So I guess that would be one potential thing that we would need to do. And then beyond that, I think it would not include any of the equipment that was provided during season 1. So it would probably be something like the equipment from patrols and from hunts would be something that we'd be able to do without it being too big of a lift. Like making brand new equipment and all that, I don't think is on the table right now. And even doing that much, we'd also need to add a new chest and different things too. So it's a bit of a lift, and I'm not sure how much of an appetite there would be for that at this time. But it's definitely something to consider, especially if it seems like there would be enough people for it to run and to be something that helps like sustain us as a team, rather than the current tournaments don't do that right now. So so
It's a very polite way of putting it.
So yeah, there are definitely things to consider. I hope you guys can understand. We are in a situation where we do not have a lot of funds and are looking to navigate through this situation, and making new tournaments and doing work that doesn't generate new revenue isn't really feasible right now.
Nice. Absolutely. Let's see. Question from chat. Will mats become available for purchase from the vendor once questing is paused?
Eventually we might need to get to that state. I think at the moment, though, that there is a pretty large surplus of them. And it'd be nice to see some of that surplus go down. So I don't see us doing that immediately, but if the situation kind of changes, we can look into it.
Yeah, and similar to, I think, the response before of a lot of that will just kind of depend on how things shake out. If things shake out quickly and questing isn't paused for that long, there's no reason to. If it ends up moving slower and we expect longer, then maybe we look at other alternatives. But until we have a better picture on that, there's not as much reason to make more changes, if that makes sense. All right, and one last question, unless anything else comes into chat, to be fair, but one last pre-submitted question. Is there a priority for allowing heroes bridged from Kaya to Metis to be available to bridge from Metis to Crystal Vale?
Yeah, I mean, that's something definitely that we want to resolve. And I think it would be one of the top things that we'd want to address if there were some sort of consolidation deal that we got. Like we already know what needs to happen to make it work. It just the time and energy spent to actually do it has not happened yet. So yeah, I mean, it is a priority. It's something that definitely is on the top of our lists when we talk about these things. But yeah, it's still kind of pending at this point.
Awesome. Real quick, there's a comment in chat, but it's a good comment, and I wanted to address it. But G Fame said, I always thought my questing was helping the chain with more transactions. It was like it's a double-edged sword, right? So every transaction that goes through does help the chain because it burns gas, and burning gas burns Joule. Burning Joule is, generally viewed as a positive thing for. That's as far as I'm going with that. I'm not messing with that. Anyway, so like it's not that the transactions were bad or anything like that. It's just also the reality that the more transactions, the more gas burned, the more storage used for the chain, the bigger the cost of maintaining the chain. That's just the reality of every blockchain, and that's fine. So it's not that the transactions in the past have been bad or anything. I mean, you were doing what we wanted you to do in general. Like that's why we built questing and made it available and had it, so you were playing the game, you were interacting with the protocol, it was good. We are just at a point at this moment where our need to minimize our cost of maintenance supersedes the benefit of the transactions. So I hope that makes sense. I don't want anybody to go, oh man, like I shouldn't have been doing this. No, absolutely, you should have. It's not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. It's just shifting priorities in today's situation.
Yeah, I think you put that really well, Bolan. If I were to just say financially, or if you look at the economics of questing in this market at these prices today, it's not something that's making money for the chain in total. When you consider even like Avalanche's contribution to support the very expensive API as a result. So I think when you consider everything, where we want to go, how do we obtain new players, the new players that come in, what's everything, all the hoops they have to jump through, what's good for that blockchain spend and footprint, what is good for KPIs that end up increasing monetization and funding, and what is draining that. In different markets, it was definitely helping the funding side and the interest. In the current market, it's draining because in order to support it, we're using funds that aren't being replenished by that exact feature. So I think at different points in times and part of the growth of DFK, we've had different needs and different priorities. And in this market, it's one that we're actually saving some money and extending our current situation to make the best decision we can by doing this. So hopefully that adds a little bit of clarity, but Bolan, I think you put it very well.
Nice. I appreciate that, and I think that is a good addition. Oh, Hubert, go ahead.
Yeah, and if I could just tag on a little bit there, I was thinking kind of the same thing as what Dreamer just said. But up until now, tomorrow we are going to actually increase the price per unit of gas. But we have refrained from doing that in the past, even as the value of Joule has gone down. So at some point we did cross a threshold where like the amount of gas coming in and the value of that gas no longer matched like the infrastructure cost to like do the extra storage and everything. It has been that way for quite a while. So increasing the amount to 10 now is a step in the right direction. But for it to be sustainable, I think the number would need to be pretty significantly more than 10 Gwei. So in lieu of doing that, I think it makes more sense right now to just reduce what the costs that are going to be incurred just from running the chain until we can get things like figured out.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And I'd meant to kind of mention some of this in my beginning opening about all of this, but like we did, we have considered different options, and this is the one that we feel like makes the most sense for both the chain and the player experience right now. To Hubert's point, the alternative of going even higher on gas, going even longer on block times, but keeping questing running, like there is a point where that could be done, but then the player experience suffers. Transactions take a lot longer, and so then and gas is more expensive, so then people naturally stop questing anyway, and now we haven't actually solved a problem. So we did look at several solutions and approaches before coming to this conclusion, but I think it's always helpful to shed some light on that as well. All right. Anything anybody wants to touch on before we go into final remarks and our wrap up? Anything that we haven't talked about? Anything that we've missed? All right. That means we did a good job today, guys. No, as always, I really appreciate everybody for being here, being a part of the AMA. Sorry, I'm going to slip one last question in here. Good timing, mellow fellow. Hubert, I'm going to start with you on this one. Any plans on repurposing the Quest Fund?
So we haven't really talked about that at all recently. So I'd say at least off the cuff, without there really being any tokenomics discussion about it, I would say that we likely won't make any changes with it. Like there is still the daily raffle from hunts that does come from the Quest Fund, so it is still being used for that purpose. But then there won't be funds coming out of it for gardening quests during this time where questing is turned off. So that does, it kind of it. I guess all else equal, if people continue summoning and doing other things that spend fees, like it will lead to the Quest Fund increasing. And then, if when things get turned back on, then we'd have a more robust Quest Fund to utilize for things. So I don't really see a need to do that at the moment. And the idea of there being some sort of consolidation, I guess my initial thought would be that we would, make sure that whatever was in the Quest Fund then gets applied to do something similar to what the Quest Fund does in the future. But there's always the option that we could do something different if we felt like that there was something better that we could do. But yeah, that's just kind of my, we really haven't discussed it. So that's just me talking off the cuff right now.
Nice. You're right. I got you back. There we go. All right, we're covered. No. No, I appreciate the insight there as well. So yeah, going into wrap up and final comments, as always, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for engaging and asking questions live in chat as well. It's super helpful to make sure that what we are saying is coming across correctly, address points that we might have forgotten. So thank you for being active and engaging. Really appreciate everybody who's tuned in live and all of those who will listen to this recording later. As always, a special shout out to those who do pre-submit questions for the AMA as well. Make sure you keep those coming in the AMA questions channel in Discord. Thank you, as always, again to Winston, Dreamer, and Hubert for being up here on stage with me and answering all of these questions. And also Winston for always organizing a good AMA bout or AMA tournament for us to enjoy some fighting while we talk. Shout out to all of the fighters in that tournament as well. And thank you guys for, enjoying PvP and being active. It's always appreciated. So yeah, super excited to be here as always. And, looking forward to keeping you guys updated as things develop. I know a lot of today's answers were some variation of be a little patient, but we do appreciate you guys and appreciate that patience in advance as we figure out what those next steps look like. And, as always, we will be as transparent as we can be as things develop, but sometimes there are things that we cannot say for a certain amount of time. So as we are able to, we will keep you guys updated as much as we can. Let's see. Let's go over to Dreamer. Dreamer, any final thoughts?
Just a final promise that in the wee hours of the night and throughout the day, trying my best to figure out who sees this potential and believes in us and wants to work with us so that we can, figure out what this next phase of DeFi Kingdoms is, and what the possibilities are and how we can make it fun and innovative and push forward. So eager to get a juicy update for next week. Hopefully it'll be juicy. If there's no juice, there shall be juice at one point. I hope there shall be juice. Please pray for juice. But it'll be hard because this is a hard market for everybody. But I just want everybody to know that's watching and here and playing, haven't gone anywhere. When we stay very focused on a solution, we have found a solution in the past, and we are very focused and eager for this. I think in this market, a consolidation is the right move if we can make it right. We just don't control all the inputs, unfortunately. And sometimes the things we don't control are the things that are most frustrating. So, but I think that other parties that are involved right now, they see the vision and they see the mutual benefit. And there's good intention from everybody, which hasn't always been the case in some of these discussions. So that makes me feel very optimistic and hopeful and even bullish. But I won't say it yet because I don't think I'm the guy, because I'm going first. I'm in like reverse last place.
You can be the guy if you want. We can make.
I even wore the hat, but it's fine. I went first.
I was wondering if we were gonna go with Juicy as today's sign off.
I don't know, man. After all this time, we decided to change the word now. I feel like it's
too late.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Dreamer, or sorry, not Dreamer. Sorry, I was looking at your camera and it killed my brain. Hubert, any final thoughts?
I also veto switching to Juicy. That's a terrible idea, Bolen. Shame on you.
In fairness, it was meant to be a terrible idea. Terrible ideas are the best ideas.
Anyway, yeah. So I mean, right now the situation, we are navigating some difficult times, and it's tough. And I wish we had better news right now for you guys, but I am optimistic that we're going to navigate through this. We've navigated through other difficult times as well in the past, and every time we've done so, we've come back stronger or come through it stronger. And I don't think there's any reason why this time wouldn't be any different. Our game has developed a lot from when it was first created, where heroes had no functionality whatsoever, or didn't even exist, and we were just a dex. To now where we have a fully running combat system, and we're just adding to it and adding content to the game all the time. There's a lot of runway in the future of where this game can go, and I would very much love to see it follow through on that. So I am also still here and trying to contribute to making that dream a reality. So appreciate all you guys for all your continued support as always, and I will wait for the not Juicy that I think will maybe pass back to Dreamer unless Winston does it. So back to you, Juan.
No, I'm just going right in. We're not going back to Bull.
Go for it.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. Yeah, just the huge, man. Thanks for playing with us, and thanks for joining these tournaments. And yeah, it's been great that people have been hanging around and getting hard into it. And I'm not going anywhere. Gonna keep working on it, keep building stuff. And yeah, I'm B-word. Community got me B-word, and the future got me B-word. Even it's weird because it's like you can't control what happens, but you can kind of like. It's sort of a cliche, but you can kind of control what you think about it and how you feel about it, and kind of manage your manage your emotions in a way. Obviously, if you are kidnapped or you are enslaved or murdered, like that's, you're not gonna optimism your way out of that. So
Whoa.
I'm not trying to. No, I'm just saying it's like because people say it so like just like look at your situation and feel better about it, bro. But it's like, well, kind of.
Winston
Is
is
this a life
Are
of
you
Brian
okay?
scene? Always look on the bright side of life. Should we all start singing it?
I mean, like swinging on the cross at that point, like. But yeah, that's I'm B-word. I'll fire it back over to Dreamer. What's
Blink,
that?
blink twice if you're okay. Blink 3 times if you're in trouble.
What is no blinks? Doing no blinks.
And Bolon, since you're last, you got to do it. But what if we said bowl juice?
Oh God, that's worse.
not saying
I'm nominating Dreamer and handing it over to him. Otherwise, we just stay on this AMA indefinitely.
It's filibuster. What questions we got until Bolon says bowl juice? I will answer anything put in chat for the next 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bullish! Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, we got some juice.
Bullish.
Bullish.